All right, hello everyone. I have another video here showing off something that I purchased for the collection. Today I have the Rosecoloredgaming. They have stands for your handheld collection. I don't know about you, but I like having the handhelds displayed. The boxes, of course, are cool if you have them, but I like having the handhelds themselves displayed. And instead of putting them, up against the cabinet or laying them flat, I was really happy to see them because I think they're added a lot to my collection, being able to display these in a really nice manner. And these displays, they have like a nice plastic, a nice hard plastic with them. The plastic holds it very securely on most of the systems, and each plastic set has a little etching the name of the console in the corner, so that's very cool. I wasn't even sure I was going to do that, but they look great that way. And of course, it also helps to know which one goes with which handheld, since you could probably use one for a few of them. But very, very cool. It gives it a great look when you're just looking at the handheld, and then you have a kind of almost a custom display for each and every one. So I heard about these actually quite a while ago from another YouTuber, Middle Jesus Rocks, very well known in the game collecting community. I think he just mentioned them in one of his videos, as he had them for a few of his handhelds, and I really love the look of it. Especially if you have like a special edition handheld. Like they have a lot of those where they'll do like custom special edition designs, so those look very cool. I did buy these during the sale. They were having like a stimulus sale. That was like 15-20% off, something like that. But these are a little bit expensive. They're about like $6-7 a piece, and some of them, like the switch stand and the risers that you can put things on, are more like $15-20. So it's definitely not a cheap option, I would say, for displaying your stuff, but I think it's well worth it for what you have. One thing I'll mention that is kind of a negative is that the shipping did take quite a bit. I understand this is probably a smaller company, and they probably did have a lot of orders, of course, with the sale. But I think it was 2 weeks before I even got like an email that it was shipping out, and then it only took a few days after that. But that is kind of a long time when you're ordering something. Not a big deal, of course, especially since I'm not in any rush myself to get them, but just something to note that it can take a while. This is how it came packaged. Very nice packaging. I'm happy that each one was kind of individually packed with everything you needed for it. And you can see it has a note about the peeling to use protect it, the stickers on it. I had a little trouble getting that off at first, but once I got the hang of it, getting under the corner, it was fine, and I didn't feel like I was scratching it at all, which of course is important.
Did you take the... You didn't even savor the Peelies. You just ripped it off like a barbarian.
They're pretty durable, very strongly built, and the pillars seem very snug. I didn't have any issues of like one being too big because of bad machining or anything like that. Generally, I was able to push them in. They made a nice snap, and then they were in and pretty flush with the bottom of the base. I mentioned before the letters, they have kind of a raised feel on them on the base, which is very cool. That's probably my favorite part about it, that they have these little markers there. Holding the handheld, of course, is important, but very cool on that. The stands on some are a little bit precarious. Most are pretty snug, but it's not like you can put the handheld on top of it and then shake it around One nice thing is that you can display a lot of the handhelds unfolded as well. So if you prefer doing that, you can unfold the handheld and it'll still fit just fine. Straps for like the DS Lite that I have and the original DS. There's a little bit of space to put them in the back, so I think that kind of nicely hides them, you know, for making it look cool. The PS Vita holder here you can see has a very nice grip actually, almost a little worrisome because it presses against the screen, but I think it's not actually pressing, it just holds it very nice. I was very impressed with it. For the PSP, there is different stands for the 1000 and 2000 models to help them better fit into the stand. And you can see a slight difference in the holder, just a little wider for that 1000 model. One of my favorite stands is the Switch stands. It was a little more expensive, but it's very cool. As you can see, before I was just using a Wii U handheld stand to hold my Switch, so I can go back to my Wii U. The two pillars kind of connect to hold the white piece, and then the clear plastic piece creates this very cool effect. And the plastic, I should say, it's not clear, it's gray, and they have colors for each of the Switch lights that are out at the moment, which is very, very cool. The DSi XL stands are made to put the handheld on its side, which helps with some of the space issues for some of the larger handhelds. The Game Boy Advance SP stands are kind of unique in that you can see this back part actually inserts into the GBA slot. So that was actually kind of interesting. It gives it a very nice look, which was kind of a nice solution. Instead of, they could have just had, you know, wide brackets to accompany it. In addition to the display stands, you can see I bought these risers. I went ahead and picked up two because I wanted a better way to put these on my shelf, because, you know, of course, having just a row of stands isn't going to look too good in a shelf. You kind of need them to be raised up. So I think that's the whole point here. I was actually kind of impressed. I expected these to be, you know, maybe like cheaper thing and, you know, not really that great, but they serve a function that's pretty obvious. But the plastic, of course, isn't as thick. I was able to put them together and put, you know, multiple handhelds on them, and I think they look pretty good and, you know, pretty easy to put together. They snap together just like any other, and I like that there's, you know, there's nothing really to like tack in or anything. It's just snapping together pieces that fit together pretty well. I had to put a lot of pressure on some of the tops of these to get them together, but you can see here how cool they look, especially with the stands on top of them. And that kind of plays into how I want to finally display everything, having these tiered displays. So I did buy one for each of the handhelds that I have currently in my collection. So you can see here them kind of laid out. And this was just so that I could kind of see how they'd look before I put them into my cabinet. Laying out the kind of my fleet of handhelds, I do realize the irony of having these nice, beautiful stands, but then having handhelds that aren't in the best condition, like the DS Lite that's very beat up around the edges, or original DS that hinge is basically falling off, or my Game Boy Color that's missing a button that may or may not have fallen down the drain when I was cleaning it. But that's just because of my collecting preference of getting them used. And, you know, while of course I'll replace them if I get a better one, a lot of the ones are used and they have scratches and stuff like that on the screens and on the tops. So not perfect, but I still think it enhances the look of them, just having these nice displays. Okay, and here's kind of my final look for my collection of being in one of the cabinets that I have with some lights that I already had established. And I think that the top row is looking very nice with the risers, making it so that you can see the handhelds very clearly, and a lot of them you can see the, you know, the little etching there, the on the bottom that's over it to show the console name, and I think it looks great, you know, side by side with each other. As you can tell, I need a few more risers, and I actually had gotten a Game Boy Pocket there as well that I need a stand for. And that's it. I think that the rose-colored gaming stands look great. I'm really happy with how they turned out, and I think they're definitely something worth looking into.